my name is Andrew Eden. I'm with Carpix.net. I think today we're going to talk about the new Dodge Challenger, an exciting new car from Dodge, and how we went about shooting it for England's Top Gear magazine. It's always exciting working with a new car, a product you haven't seen before, a whole new thing to get cracking on. We had this opportunity recently because Dodge was showing the new Challenger at one of their LX exhibitions here in Los Angeles. When you get a new car like this, first and foremost, you owe a responsibility to the people looking at your photography. They've seen the car for the first time. Now, I know when I'm going on these shoots, there's a whole load of Challenger fans out there that really want to see what this new car looks like. And I feel a sort of personal responsibility to give them pictures where they can look at that car and go, wow, you know, that fender's a little bit different, the way the headlamps are, they're a little bit different, but basically I remember that car from the 70s. One of the main pressures you're under when you're photographing a car like the new Challenger is that its predecessor was an icon American muscle car. I'm sure Chrysler are feeling this pressure much more than I am, but you'd like to show some of the history, some of the pedigree of the car. And to do that, we thought it would be a good idea, and fortunately I have a good friend with an original, perfect, pristine 1970 Challenger. Also, the car was in black, and we knew the new car was going to be in black. People can make a direct comparison to see the two cars together. How is the shape of the new one? How does it vary from the old one? Has it kept some of the aggressive lines? Now, it looks quite simple here, but you can't do it on your own. These are objects, cars that need driving around. You have lights on the scene. You have a whole load of things going on. So one thing that's really nice to have is some help. And this is where the guys from Street Fighter have been really good. They've helped me on this shoot for Top Gear. I think we showed it earlier. But on page 110 of the recent shoot, this is the Callaway Corvette. They helped on this. And the guys from Street Fighter were along on the Challenger shoot. Right from the word go, one of the limitations we had with the new Challenger was we weren't going to be able to do any high-speed work at all, which is a shame because part of the whole reason and principle behind the muscle car is speed and power. So we have a limited way in which to show that. One of the best techniques you can use under those limited circumstances is to do what we call a tracking shot. Now, a tracking shot is where you run the camera, in this case in the back of a minivan, and the subject cars at the same speed, and you run parallel to each other down the road. The reason why this works is because if you get the pacing right, and this is something you have to work on and you have to have a good crew around you, and that was something that Street Fighter helped with, by the way, but when you get the minivan containing the cameraman and then the subject car running at exactly the same speed, it allows you to use a very slow shutter speed on the camera. Now what that does is it takes the background, the bit that's not running constant with us, and makes it blurred. So you get a nice speed blur effect, even running at relatively slow speed. When you're photographing a car, you're effectively photographing a mirror. Now some colors make more of a mirror than other colors, but dark, glossy black is really your worst nightmare, because not only do you see what's behind the car, but you see everything that's on this side of the car in the reflections down the fenders and the side panels. I remember one famous PR shot for a car company that will remain nameless, but who launched their new sleek, glossy black limousine. And they thought the best thing to do would be to take it into the middle of downtown and show it in this great urban environment. And the picture did look great. And I remember getting this picture in on the magazine, and we were looking at it in a tiny 35mm transparency. And it looked fabulous. We thought, this is going to blow up great. So we went ahead and published it. When it came out, this size, on a double-page spread, You look down the side of the car, this brand new limousine car, and what did you see? There was a reflection of a guy sat on a wall down the side of the car, and he's eating his sandwich like this. And all I can ever see is this picture of the guy going like this, eating his sandwich in the side of this sleek new limo. And on this shot, we're doing something that you're told, perhaps in photo school or by your mother, I don't know, never to do. We're looking directly into the sun. So we know sunset's coming up. We know where it's going to be. We're on a runway in the middle of a wide, wide open area. The sun's going to touch literally the horizon at the end of the runway. So it's predictable. We know it's coming up, but it only lasts for 5 minutes. And it's hard to do a whole day shoot in 5 minutes. The reflection thing at sunset is particularly important because if you put the car at the right angle to reflect the sunset, the whole car glows. This is a really nice effect on a metallic object. Sometimes though, it's not perfect. So what we did, we had 2 strobe lights set up just to add to the rim lighting effect, because we've got a black car, and if you can add that rim lighting around the edge, again, it makes the car jump off the page. You probably take pictures yourself, and you might take 2 or 3 of each shot. You know, well, here's an admission. On the Challenger shoot, I took over 1,200 frames. For those of you that are technically minded, that was over 10 gigabytes of work on the Canon camera. The first thing I do is go through each category of shot that I've done. Action shots, static shots, front and rear, and then detail shots. And I'll pick out the ones that most immediately grab me. Now sometimes it can be a disappointment on the action shots, you blow it up large, and a little bit of it is out of focus. You can narrow the selection down probably from 1,000 frames down in the first cut to 200. Then it starts to get difficult because you've got various shots and they all look more or less alike. What I'd probably like to tell you is that I go through each one of them, blow them up, and make a judgment call based on some great philosophy. What I actually do is go, you know what, those 10 are okay, I'll keep those, and I immediately throw 190 back in the trash. Because frankly, you've got a deadline to meet and you can't look absolutely at every shot. Okay, so I think you're looking now at a picture of a front-end detail of the car we did. And I think this illustrates my whole point about reflections. If you look in the hood of the car, you will see the reflected images of the clouds behind the car. It adds a strong graphic element to the photograph. It makes the car look bold and it jumps off the page, and that's what we're always trying to do. Probably my favorite shot from the entire shoot was the 2 cars running together. I was particularly pleased with the technical side of it because despite the fact we were on an old disused runway with lots of distractions all around, the reflections in the car are very clean, and it allows the viewer not to be distracted but can really concentrate on the dynamics of the actual car. You see the car, how it's running, you see its ride height, you see how it sits on the road when it's actually performing. An extra bonus, we had the old Challenger in, great piece of history. The sunset shot, I think it's moody, I think it says something about the spirit of the car. I'd like to have done it moving, but bearing in mind the limitations we had on this shoot, I think it just gives a nice romantic period feel to the car. So having done well over 20 years now in still photography, automotive, we've now started to do more video. But now we have the internet, we have these great guys here at Streetfire who are giving us the opportunity, all of us, to take our little videos, good or bad, and put them out there for people to enjoy. Anyway, it's been great fun talking to you today. We've mentioned a little bit about what we do and some of the problems and some of the pleasures we have from photography. Thanks very much. Andrew Yeadon, Carpix.net. Have a good day.